subbies, welcome back to the Simply Stacey YouTube channel. It's your girl Stacey, and I know I have been MIA, missing in action, probably since about August when I went to Portugal and I started doing all my travel vlogs. I think I got through day 1, 2, and 3 in Portugal. I was there about 7 to 9 days, can't really recall, and I have so much footage, but the problem is it was all on like my cell phones and not necessarily my vlogging camera, so it was kind of hard for me to get them off and get them to you. I did give you guys 3 videos from Portugal. I'm going to try to go back and do more of that, but because of that I have not been able to create more and more content, but that has all come to an end. The other part of that is, so you guys know that I had started doing all these like reaction videos and things like that for like The Bachelorette, Ready to Love, Bachelor in Paradise, and all of that kind of stuff. But the problem was, guys, I was not able to do any other content. Like, those shows come on once a week, and so my life literally was, hey, watch, record, watch again, record, and edit, put it up, and the next thing, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't able to give you guys the content that I really have been enjoying giving you guys, which is travel and lifestyle and, you know, a little bit of reaction videos, because I'm all about love. I'm a hopeless romantic and all that good stuff. So I have decided I'm going to stick to my first 2 shows. I was going to just stick to Ready to Love. That was the very first show that I decided to do a reaction to. It just started back on Friday, and that is what you guys are currently watching, is a Ready to Love reaction video. It's not going to be a watch with me like I did before, where I sit there and watch the whole show and give you guys, you know, my little tidbits. I just took notes, and we'll get into what I think what stood out the most. We don't have to go into detail by detail, but that is how I'm going to do it from here on out. And then I have to do The Bachelorette this season because it is Michelle Young. She was a contestant on Matt James' season of The Bachelor, and she is also another Black or African American Bachelorette, and I have to watch her. She is the 3rd one in the series franchise. I believe Rachel Lindsay was the very first. I believe it was in 2016. It took until last year, 2020, halfway or partway through Claire's season for them to get another Black Bachelorette, which was Tayshia. And now we have Michelle Young. And it was very quickly after Matt James' season, and he was actually the very first African-American Bachelor. So although I wish I would have filmed and recorded Matt James' season, Tayshia season, I'm actually here for Michelle Young. So guys, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you guys can get that. It starts tomorrow night, so I will be recording as soon as that show is over so we can get to the Bachelorette. But right now, this is Ready to Love on the OWN network. We are on season 5. OWN keeps calling it season 4, but I know I done seen 5 casts, and this is the 5th season that I've seen. I don't know why they keep naming it like that, but this is episode 1. I did watch the casting special, but I didn't think it needed its own video. I'm also thinking about doing just a reality roundup where the 2 shows that I am actually reviewing, maybe I do both of those on the same video. I don't know how that's going to go yet, but I'm definitely not going to be able to just keep it running. One show on Monday, one show on Friday, trying to get it up before the weekend is out and all that. Let me know in the comments below if you guys will be down for like a reality roundup, because I can also give y'all my takes real quick on those shows that I kind of cut off on you guys. Bachelor in Paradise, 3 couples got engaged, and I am here for all 3 of them. I still follow them on social media. Kenny and Mari, Joe, Grocery Store Joe, and Sabrina. And then we have Marissa and Riley, which I absolutely love them. And they are in the first African-American couple in Bachelor franchise history that got engaged. All 3 of those couples got engaged. It was a lot of drama going on with this season, but like I said, it was coming on twice a week and I couldn't keep up. Also, Real Housewives of Potomac, and I still watch that. If Atlanta comes back on, I might watch it. I see they've done some casting changes. But anyway, let me know in the comments below if y'all are down for a reality roundup where I just talk about all the things I've watched in the week and we just sit here and talk about it. You guys can comment below. We can do it live on a premiere. Yeah, just let me know. Okay, so we are in what they call Chocolate City. This is on network again. The last 2 seasons have been filmed in Houston. One was literally in Houston, Texas. The other one was like at a resort, but the cast was from Houston, Texas. And then they did Atlanta for 2 years. So again, we're on season 5, whether they like to say it or not. And if y'all not familiar with Chocolate City, so I heard this a while ago, but they said that that was like the most popping place for young Black professionals, singles. If you wanted to live there, you know, it's a lot of Black people. Basically people of color, and so they call it Chocolate City. And so I'm looking at the cast and I'm like, okay, we're gonna see what this does. But anyway, how this season starts, like I said, there are 20 contestants, there are 10 guys, and there are 10 women, all successful, all 30 to, I don't think there's a 50-year-old, 30 to maybe 47-ish. I know last season Troy was in his 50s maybe. Anyway, we have some attractive people. We have some very entertaining people, I guess, to say the least, too. I don't know why, but I was expecting, just from first glance, I think I was expecting a little bit more, because when I go to DC, I be feeling like all I see is, like, cute people all the time, like, fine people, like, listen, the men in DC, they be dressing nice, they be having on their suits, they be looking good. Now, these people did too, but I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. It didn't give what I thought it was going to give, but, you know, as they talk and I get to know their personalities, I'm sure I will get smitten by some of these cast members. Okay, guys, so I'm going to get started by just letting you know who is on the cast, who are the members of this cast. I'm going to put their picture up so you guys can see exactly who it is. I'll tell you what they do and how old they are. So first up, we have Phil. Phil is 37 and he is a marketing consultant. I believe he says he does consulting for government contracts. Now, I believe that was from the casting special. Phil is a handsome guy. He is 37. On the own channel, they say he's 51. I don't know why, but this man is only 37. He's a nice looking guy. Next up, we have Courtney. She is 30, so she is the youngest cast member. She's a business consultant, and basically, from what I can recall from her, Courtney said that she was dating a guy in her last relationship. They ended up having a child. She got pregnant, had a child, and she was different. When she turned 30, she had a kid. She was, you know, excelling in her career, and she was never going to be 25-year-old Courtney. And dudes still want her to be out in the clubs and stuff. And she's like, that's really not where I am right now in my life. And so that is kind of why that last thing did not succeed. But Courtney seems very mature for her age. Maybe her becoming a mom changed things for her. But she's just like, I'm going to always be evolving and growing. And I'm not going to ever be 25-year-old Courtney again. So if that's what you need from me, that's not going to work. Next up, we have Tyrone. He is a cybersecurity professional and he is 44. We have Aliyah. She is 37. She has her own hair salon that she owns. So Bernicia from last season, she also owned her own hair salon. She is tatted all the way up. You'll see that she has that in common with some other castmates as well. Next up is Lamont. He is 44 and he is also in cybersecurity. Then Sabrina. Now, I say that Sabrina, she is a fashion designer. She's 45. She's tall. She has this blonde, short pixie cut. And you can tell that she is already a fan favorite, which is a tad bit surprising just because of her age. Typically, the older women aren't necessarily the ones that other men go for. But she is beautiful. She's gorgeous. She is actually, I know people call it Blasian. I don't even know if that's politically correct, but she's part African American and part Korean, so Black and Asian fusion, I guess is what they kind of call it. But she's biracial, and yeah, so people are loving her so far. She has one daughter. Her daughter is 8 years old, and she doesn't want any more children. Next up is Frank. So Frank, he's 35 and he's a cocktail brand owner. I don't know why I keep saying he gave me raw energy from last season. But he's like buff and short and kind of, I don't know, it was kind of goofy for me. But that's just me personally. He seems like a nice guy. I watched him a little bit more after the casting special, and it does look like he has some connections. So that is Frank. He's 35. He seems like a nice gentleman for sure. Next up is Carrie. She is 37 and she is a real estate and interior decor consultant, I believe. Then we have Naeem. He is 40 and he is a program manager. So now Naeem, he strictly basically said he does not like women with a lot of makeup on. He likes their hair natural. Like, he had a lot of things that he preferred in a woman. And I know on the casting special, Tommy was like, ain't it gonna be funny when he fall for somebody that isn't any of those things? Because first of all, you going on this show, people about to come with they faces beat. They gonna come with, you know, like, let's be real, they're not gonna come supernatural on their first meeting, first encounter, or anything like that. Now, Courtney wears her hair natural, and she did have her hair natural on the first date, but she was the only one. The only one. So Naeem, either it's Courtney or I don't know what you're gonna do, boo. Because everybody else had their weaves, their hair was laid, fried, dyed, laid to the side, wig, whatever. But Courtney was the only one that was out here natural. She said she's a Leo and she had her mane just like a lioness. Hey. Next up is Moomin, M-U-M-E-N. I do not know if I'm pronouncing her name right. I will listen more intently so that I can get it right as the season continues. She did not have very much camera time, so I think that's another reason why it wasn't really hearing her name a lot. She is 36 and she is a background singer and stylist, and she is gorgeous. She has like this gorgeous, beautiful complexion. She is beautiful. And then we have Walter. Walter is 46 and he is an entrepreneur. Now, Walter is like, let's say, the Sabrina for the guys. So all the women are feeling Walter. Walter, I did find him on Instagram, and he's Greek. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. And so he probably has this like little swagger about him. Anyway, he's an attractive man. They all dress nice. All the men dress very nicely. But Walter said that he dated a woman for 9 years. They got married. And they were only married for a year before she passed away, which is so sad. He was like, I'm going to lose her, so I got to change my ways because I was out here. He said, I was out here. They got married. He love of his life. She found out she had a tumor on her ovaries. And she did end up passing away a year after they were married, which is so super sad. And he said he had his phase when he got out of marriage. And so now he's back ready to do that again. He thinks he can find another love of his life. Like that there are multiple ones out there. And yeah, he is ready to love. He's super tall. And when I say Sabrina was feeling him, he was feeling her when they first walked in. A lot of the women were like, okay, Walter. So I think he is going to be a hot commodity on this show as well. And he just has a story that is just, you know, definitely evokes emotion and things of that nature. Next up is Tisa. Tisa. She's 33 and she's a tech startup founder. Then we have Dante. He is 38 and he's a deputy superintendent. It's a lot of bald, bearded men on this cast. You will see that over and over. I think last season all we had was AJ, who was dating Kyra at the end. But yeah, he was like bald and bearded. But they have a plethora of those to choose from this go round. Light bald and bearded, chocolate bald and bearded, medium brown complexion, bald and bearded. It's just like the thing. It's not unusual like it was with AJ from his season. He was the only one. Okay, next up we have Shyla, who is 33. She is a technical program analyst. We have Cornelius. He is 39. He's an electrical engineer. And he is making quite a few connections as well. He's bald. He's not necessarily bearded. Just has like a goatee. But he is also bald. But he doesn't have like that full thick beard like the rest of the guys have. We have Zadia, I believe. Or Zadia. Z-A-D-I-A. Again, the more I hear from them, the more I see them and hear people call their names. I don't know how to pronounce them better. So I apologize if I'm getting anybody's pronunciation wrong. She's a personal trainer, and she's 35. I did not see her a lot, but there was one time that she did come across the screen. I'm like, okay, she's making a connection, but they didn't show her a lot the first episodes. Lord, next up is Corey. He is 40. He's a fitness trainer. And when I say he is, I feel like he might be worse than Troy or the same. I don't know. Troy from last season was the 51-year-old who was kissing everybody, inviting everybody on trips, and he would never just focus in on anybody. He was just like telling everybody the same thing. And that is Corey to a T. The first thing he does is pull every woman aside and ask her, is she free Friday, Saturday, or Sunday so he can get a date. He said he's been on 100 dates in the last 12 months. And they have been first dates. He's not so good at the second date, but the first date, he got this thing down. So he went right into this the wrong way. Like, he went right in talking about, hey, what are you free Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Can I get your number? Like, I don't even know if that's how this works. Because, you know, production has to schedule dates and times. And I've heard in the past from castmates that they may say who their top people are, and they may not even know who they're showing up on a date with. But Corey out here getting everybody's number, telling all of them he want to go on a date with them. He definitely gets caught up. It's a mess. Next up is Libba. Libba is 44 years old, and she's a professor of marketing. Now, I believe, if I'm not wrong, it's either her or Tisa, but I think it's Libba who said that they were married really young at the age of 20 and then divorced in her 20th year of marriage. So she's probably recently divorced within the last 4 years, and she just got married super duper young. Next up, we have Carrington, who is 33. He's a nightlife marketing CEO, and that screams party promoter. Definitely screams party promoter to me. I feel like what we saw from his reel when they were doing the introductions is a party promoter. Nightlife. Then we have Camille. Camille's a 42-year-old teacher. I believe she says she's working on her doctorate. So she'll probably be a professor at some point. And yeah, guys, that is the cast of season 5. You guys got to see who they are. But we can get into the episode now. Okay, I believe that it starts with Carrington arriving, who is the party promoter. And he's 33. And then I think it was Aaliyah, who is the 37-year-old hairstylist. She's blonde. I can't remember. But anyway, it's a group of them that starts to show up. Sabrina arrives. She's super tall. Like I said, blonde pixie cut. She's 45. Fashion designer. Tyrone, he said he was in the military before. And so it's so funny because when Sabrina says, they ask, you know, where she's from. She said she was born in Korea, but, you know, she came right over to the United States. And then Tyrone is so funny because you could tell he's intrigued by her. He thinks she's beautiful. And he starts with like, oh, I was in the military and it got me stationed in Korea. So he says, yeah, the one thing, you know, I learned about Korea or the language when I was there. And he says this whole sentence in Korean. It is so funny because Sabrina just looks at him and was like, yeah, I don't know any Korean. It was so funny because you could tell he was trying to be like, oh, we have something in common. Like, I know your language. She like, yeah, basically, I don't know anything that's Korean. But thanks for trying, I guess. But it was so funny. It did not land well with her. Next walks in is Walter. Now, remember I said Walter was the guy that all the women was liking, and Sabrina was the girl that all the men was liking. And when they walk in, they lock eyes, honey. They both tall. They both gorgeous people, and they have this interesting chemistry. And poor Tyrone, it's like it's a wrap. It's not you. It's him. So yeah, they like each other. Corey, who is 40, walks in. Courtney, she's the 30-year-old, and now Corey is the 40-year-old who's asking everybody for their number. And that's the first thing he did. He asked Courtney, like, what she like. She like, you know, honestly, tall, dark, and handsome. He's like, so me, is it enough for a first date? She like, yeah, sure. He like, you free Friday, Saturday, Sunday? So this is when he first started his moves. And she was like, I mean, yeah. He's like, what's your number? So he takes his number down. They going about their lies and talk to other people. They mixing and they mingling. Tommy comes out like, hey, as you guys can see, it's 20 of y'all here. 2 people getting eliminated tonight, so you better mix it up and mingle it up and make a good impression. So that's basically what they're doing. Corey, again, Mr. I've been on 100 dates in 12 months. he goes and pulls Carrie. She was sitting there next to Courtney, the girl he just asked on the date. What he does is he think he a smooth operator, honey. He brings Courtney a refill of her champagne, probably rosé. And then he says, Carrie, can I pull you for a second? It's something I wanted to either talk to you about or give you when you first came in, but I didn't get a chance to. So Carrie was thinking like, one, this is kind of awkward, but okay. He pulls her to the side, asks her, is she free Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Like, hey, you somebody I wanted to get to talk to. And she like, well, in her mind, or in her confessional rather, she's like, is there some connection I missed with him that he's all like this? But she goes ahead and tell him like, okay, I'll give you that. He asked for her phone number. So I'm like, oh, this is his MO. This is what he's doing. Needless to say, he schedules a date for them. And he's like, yeah, basically, I'm hitting on everyone tonight. And there's another thing that sticks out to me, or another connection that I'm witnessing, and it is Cornelius, who is an electrical engineer, and then Camille. She said, you know, I'm working on my doctorate. I will be Dr. Hazel eventually. She's currently a teacher. He's an electrical engineer. They seem to have a really good conversation. Cornelius is the Southern gentleman with the godly swag. I believe he said in his confessional that, you know, he's going to try to abstain from having sex during this process because he really wants his wife and he wants to find that, which is commendable if that's what he wants to do and the women are okay with that. And it seems like they have a good vibe. When he leaves to go, I believe, get her a drink or something, she's like, oh, that's my man. Cornelius is my boyfriend. She's like, Harry back. He like, well, you know, I do have to mingle with other people. I can't just be focused solely on this situation. Next up is Libba. She is 44, and she is the one, like I said, was married before. She's divorced. She got married really young. And she is talking to Lamont. Now, he is 44, and he's been single for 7 years. To me, I got awkward energy. Like, that's the first thing I got was, like, this little awkward vibe. He does cybersecurity. And then he starts talking to Shyla, who is 33. She's an intimacy counselor, coach, or something like that. And she's been single for about 2 years. So they talk about that kind of stuff. No real chemistry, no real vibes. Tisa likes Walter, who is 46. Tisa is 33. And basically, she asked him about children. Did he have any? He says he did not have any children with his widow. But he dated her for 9 years. So basically, he tells Tisa his story about how he was young. He was 28 when his wife passed away. And now he's at the point where, you know, he thinks he can find another soulmate. So we're back to Lamont, Mr. Cybersecurity, who was a little bit awkward to me. And he's talking to Aisha. I can't remember her name. She's 37. I feel like she's the blonde that was the salon owner. And she just really wasn't feeling it because she was like, he starts spitting bars. He says he's a poet and he just like drops some poetry, I guess. And she felt like he was rapping to her. And she was like, yeah, we're trying to have a bond. Like, I think she was telling him how she was sharing something, I guess, important in her life to her. And then he started with some bars. And she was like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. Okay, next up is Corey again. And he is interacting with Sabrina and Phil. Sabrina is 45 and Phil is 37. They look like they're sitting down having a great conversation. Here comes Corey trying to steal Sabrina. And Corey was like, well, man, I'm going to walk away. He's like, no need. So he pulls her. She stands up to kind of talk to him. And he's in her ear like, do you find me attractive? And she's like, well, I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you or know you. He was like, well, just from on site, like, do you find me attractive? Are you free to go on a date Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday? And she was like, well, after we have, you know, more conversations, then we can get there. So here he go again with this same play. But here's the thing, sir. You didn't even pull her to the side, have conversation with her. He's having conversations with nobody about anything. All he doing is trying to schedule dates. And so basically she was like, well, after we talk later in the day, then maybe we'll broach that. She didn't set no date up with him. She didn't give him her phone number either. So yeah, that was real odd. And Phil was standing there and he could really hear what was going on. So it was very off-putting to say the least. So then Sabrina and Walter actually finally talk. Remember, they had this instant connection when they both walked in. And he asked her, Does she want more kids? Because we know he had no kids. She has an 8-year-old daughter. She says she doesn't want any more kids. And she does talk about, she opens up to how her mother is taking care of her father who has dementia. And she's basically a caregiver and it's a lot for her. She's a single parent. Like, she's getting very emotional and crying. And Walter's just listening and making her feel super comfortable. And he does say that, you know, when his mom passed away, her last 3 years of life, he was also her caregiver. And, you know, he understands that. She's like, you know, I never feel like I could talk to anybody about this. They have such a really good bonding moment. I'm like, oh, this is it. They really, really like each other. He's wiping her tears away. And she says that he's the first guy that's made her feel safe and comfortable. And I really like it. I mean, it did not dampen the mood. They had a good conversation and they feel connected. Okay, then we're back on Courtney. So Courtney's a 30-year-old, natural hair. She's actually talking to Cornelius, the electrical engineer, is 38. And basically, he was saying that, you know, he spent most of his 20s in Kansas, and he see a black person in the grocery store, he'd be like, oh, how's your family? What are they doing? Can I hang out with them? Like, he just wasn't around. And she said she likes that he's a Southern gentleman. It seems like they really are vibing. Then we have Libba, who's 40. She's the lady who was married young and divorced after 20 years of marriage. She says her strongest connection is Frank. So she's talking to Frank, who was 35. And Frank isn't really feeling it. She's tatted up and they're talking about tattoos. And Aisha or Alicia, what is her name? Her name is Aaliyah. Sorry, Aaliyah, the hairstylist, is also there, who is very much tatted up. Remember I told you she had something in common with a few of the castmates. So Frank said he's tattooed all over. Of course, he's dressed head to toe in clothes. So you can just see his tats picking out of his, like, wrists. And so he does say that he's all over. I think Aaliyah says she has a sleeve. And then Libba says, oh, I have a Tree of Life tattoo. And Frank is like, oh, me too. I have one under my sleeve here. And then she's like, oh yeah. And then I have the infinity sign tattoo over my butt or something. Like, it was just like, she started going too far. Like, okay, ma'am, he'll find out where your tattoos are when we get there. He like, let us see it, you know, jokingly, of course. But like, you could already tell she had turned him off on some, I'm going to be a serious candidate person, right? So then as she's like getting up to leave, he's basically like, yeah, it's not like a red flag, but it's kind of yellow flag. Libba is just too bubbly for me. And I think bubbly is not the word he was trying to use, sir, because who's too bubbly for somebody? But anyway, he's really not feeling Libba, even though she said that's her strongest connection. So he goes on and chops it up with Aaliyah a little bit more. It looks like they have more in common. Then there's Zadia, who is 35, and Naeem. And they have a little growing, budding connection. So I like to see it. He's 40 and she's 35. But remember, Naeem only liked people with natural hair. So she does not have natural hair. I believe he did talk to Courtney at one point. And he told her he liked her hair. But I don't think she was vibing with him as much. Okay, next up is Shyla, who is 33. And she said that she is Trinidadian and Mexican. And so she's talking to Dante, and Dante is 38, so 33 and 38. Dante says, oh, you're Trini. You didn't mention that. Like, my stepdad is from Trinidad and Tobago. So they have a little bit in common. He's like, he's taught me how to cook some Trinidadian food. And she's like, oh, you have to cook that for me. I think it was stewed chicken. I can't remember. But yeah, so it looks like they have a little bit in common. She was telling him that she had kind of some abandonment issues. He's asking her how she deals with them. So they're having really good, deep intellectual conversation. And okay, I'm kind of feeling it. They're both liking each other. That's Shiloh and Dante. Oh, Jesus. So now Corey is back with a group of people. I believe it's like 3 or 4 women sitting there. And he's like, yeah, basically he just copy and paste. That's how he got all his first one-on-one dates. Because over the 12 months or over the year, because he just copy and paste until he can get the first date. That's the problem. So you don't learn nothing about them. You're not trying to. You're just sending them the same message. And that's what he did the whole time. Copy and paste this conversation to the next girl. Are you free Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Let's get it. Let's get it in. So anyway, they sitting there at the table talking. And the women start thinking like, sir, you got we got a date on Friday. Well, you got it on Friday. We got it on Saturday. And they start to notice. He said, did he tell you that he really wants to talk to you and all this stuff? And they like, yeah. basically they are realizing in front of him that it's a copy-paste conversation, and at least 3 of the 4 of them sitting there got a date with him already planned. And nobody feels special. He like, they don't understand how this works, because if it's 20 people I got to get to know, the best way is on a one-on-one conversation. He's digging himself into a deeper hole, honey. Because, sir, you didn't have to do that. You could have got you 1 or 2 good connections and then explore the rest later. But you didn't make any connections. You just went right up to people and started asking them for their phone number and to get a date. Right. He kind of said, yeah, you're right. It's just looking bad. He like, it's going downhill from here. He's basically like, you know what? I asked a lot of people out. One of them I really shouldn't even ask. So, like, you're not even feeling them. The girl, like, this is not going well for you. Like, all the women got up and left him. It's a mess. So, basically, we back at Nephew Tommy. And Nephew Tommy trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. How is this going? It's going from light to night, honey. They have been there all day. It looks like there's some mansion. They probably have Airbnb. They are having a good time. And like I said, it was morning when they got there, daylight. It is nighttime now. Nephew Tommy is back. And he's taking the guys. He's like, hey, let me know who you got your connections with. So Phil says he has a connection with Sabrina and Camille. Cornelius says he has a connection with Courtney and Camille. Tommy like, y'all gonna be fighting. They're like, no, I don't even know like that yet. Dante says he got a connection with Aaliyah or Aisha, Zadia, Mume. I think her name is Mume. I cannot remember how to pronounce it yet. Shyla. Nephew Tommy like, sir, you got a connection with everybody. Basically everybody. He started laughing. So basically he's like, okay, let's get to the bottom of this. Who do y'all not have a connection with? So Tisa's name came up. She was the one, what was she? So now she is a full figure woman. Now a lot of them are slender. Some of them are heavier. She's a full figure woman, beautiful, dressed nicely, all this. So I don't know if that's a thing, because remember, what was her name? Tressa from last season. She was like the most curvaceous woman. And then I feel like the season before that, the curvaceous woman, they sent him home first because that's really not people's type, I guess. But anyway, so her name came up. I don't think it was really anything necessarily that they were saying. I think some people did say that she just asked questions like it was an interview and they weren't really getting to know her. I think that was the reason they gave. And then there was Carrie. So Carrie is one of the ones Corey pulled to the side. She's interior decorator. They were talking to her. Cornelius, I believe, said he wasn't really attracted to her. So it's hard for him to see that if he wasn't attracted to her. She's a nice enough woman, but her name came up. And then Libba. Libba was the one with the tattoos, talking all this, and Frank wasn't really feeling it, but other people weren't feeling her as well. So those were the bottom according to what we heard from Tommy and the guys. Then he pulls the ladies to the sides and asks them the same thing. So Aaliyah likes Frank. Zadia likes Naeem and Walter. Sabrina likes Walter. Libba liked Dante and Cornelius. And then Camille liked Cornelius. So those were the top guys. Basically, Cornelius and Walter were out there winning. Everybody else, I guess, just fell somewhere in the middle. But then, of course, Tommy got to the bottom of it. Like, let's get to who y'all not feeling. It was like Lamont. Remember I told you I felt like he was a little bit awkward. Then he was the poet and he started spitting bars according to one of the ladies. And she wasn't feeling it. People really wasn't feeling it. And then there was Tyrone. And I don't know, I think only one person really said Tyrone's name, because I thought somebody liked Tyrone. Not that he was anybody's top, but I thought he had some good conversations. And then, of course, Corey. Now, I got an asterisk by his name because he was the one getting everybody dates, and everybody caught him on the very first day of doing it. It wasn't even like it took time, because that's happened before. And it's like, oh, you telling her the same thing as you telling me? I think that was maybe a Winter and Joy situation on their season. And then last season with... I want to say maybe Ron and the 2 women he had. I don't know, but it seemed like some people were saying the same things to people, and they was overhearing it to see if it was the same thing. But Corey did it on the first day. Everybody found out on the first day. So I'm like, oh, this is not looking good for you. Okay, so then we're down to elimination. Tommy was like, okay, fellas, I told y'all 2 people were going home. For the fellas, the 2 bottom people are Lamont and Corey. Lamont was the 44-year-old cybersecurity poet, awkward fella. And then Corey was the 40-year-old Mr. I'm a fitness guy and all I do is first date people. And I'm going to tell everybody copy and paste. I'm copy and paste my whole thing. Anyway, Lamont goes home. So, Corey, you got a chance to live another day. He was ready to go home because he was like, I don't even know how I'm going to come back from this. And I don't know how you're going to come back from this either, but I can't wait to see it. Okay. And then for the females, the bottom two was Libba. Libba was the lady talking about all her tattoos. And the guy said she was too bubbly for him, but I think it was something else about her personality people just weren't feeling. Maybe like over the top, too extra. I'm not sure, but they don't never use their words properly. And then Tisa. Now, Tisa, like I said, it was kind of surprising because she really didn't know where this was coming from. Super shocked. Both of the women seemed like they were just super shocked. Lamont was a little bit sad to go home. Corey kind of knew that it was coming. But the two women seemed like they were just super shocked. Tisa was really shocked because she was like, you know what? I feel like 5 people number my phone. So if that's the case and they really weren't feeling me, I thought I made some strong connections. What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the tea? She really ready to go home, basically. But Libba is the one who ends up going home. There are 18 left. There are 9 men and there are 9 women. But Tisa really not feeling it. And I think a lot of these men gonna have some explaining to do when she finds out, like, you was playing me because you act like you like me, but then you didn't. But it could just literally be they like somebody else more. That is it. That is a wrap on episode number 1 of Ready to Love DC. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do y'all like this? Y'all think this is going to be a good season or what? It's going to be some twists and turns, and I can't wait. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Simply Stacey YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you can always be reminded when I post a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, see ya.